good kitty.
My first knowing of Candle Cove came from the Net Nostalgia Forum back some time. However, many of the episodes have never been found, and many of the props are either long gone or spread out all over the world. However, after this mentioned the show, I had to dig further into it. What I discovered over my round trip was something dark residing within the show itself. The show was originally called Pirate Percy. It was loosely based on an old, quite lost short story called The Knickerbocker's Tale from 1767, about a little Irish boy arriving to a land of pirates to find his way back home. The story's writer, a man believed to be named Cullen, vanished into the dark. Stories about it said that he was a madman who married well and had a daughter who vanished without a trace near his home. This inspired him to write the story, and shortly after, he was found dead by his wife. The story was lost for several years until 1970, when a local TV station, Local 58, in Ashland found the rights to the story and converted it into a children's series. I managed to find some of the studio workers, but none of them were able to tell me about it. There was one, however. Okay, miss.
I'm not comfortable giving my last name. Or my first.
Understandable. Mind if I call you Jane?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so Jane, I understand you had a part in the TV show Candle Cove, right?
Set designer. Well, part of it. I helped in the construction of the Laughingstock and many of the characters as well.
I see. Was it a good experience?
Sure, it was a great one until towards the end of the show itself.
How so?
Well, that damn Grimes, that's what it was.
How do you manage to scare you?
Well, he was a nut job. A loony. He forced a 5-year-old girl to near heat stroke, changed scripts. Everything was fine until the show grew darker.
How so?
When a skeleton named the Skin Taker proclaims that the reason for his jaw to move weird is to grind your skin, you will have some problems. Grimes was insane. The last straw was the last episode of the series. It was a damned kiddie show that turned into a puppet show from hell overnight. I'd like to end this now.
Later on, I managed to find Jody Silver, who played as Janice on the show, now an adult of 45. She resides with her husband, Damon Lewis, and her 2 kids. If you see her now, she has lost all that childhood spunk that she had on the show. She works as a writer of pirate stories and haunted mysteries. I managed to visit her to start an interview with her. Are you Miss Jody Silver?
Why, I haven't been called that in ages. Yes, I am, but people call me Joey Lewis now.
Oh, sorry about that. So you see, I'm trying to find some surviving crew members. I'm trying to work on a little documentary and a paper about a kid show you used to work on.
Oh, please tell me you were joking.
It's no joke, Miss Lewis.
Well, I won't warn you that you're just a total nutcase for doing this. This show has given me bad dreams, ruined my childhood. I've had therapy because of it.
Please, just one interview. That's all I'm asking, is just one interview. And if you have to go through therapy again, I will pay out a pot.
Fine, fine. Meet me here for an interview.
Thank you. You won't regret this.
Hi, you want to talk?
Okay, so tell me something about the show.
Well, it started out as a dream come true. I was a huge fan of shows like Jumbo Circus, Sunshine City, and Fisherman Fred, and I really wanted to be on a kiddie show. I got my wish when I heard that the studio was looking for a little girl to play Janice on her new show. Many other girls auditioned for the part, so I gave it all and got in. I got my wish. However, it turns out you should be careful what you wish for.
Why is that?
I really don't want to tell you, but I must. You see, on set, some changes started happening. Grimes would change scripts. Things seemed scary. And for the first episode to seem mean was odd for a kid's show. And that horrible last episode.
You mean the last episode of the first season?
Wow. You really need to brush up on your history of this. There were 2 seasons. The final episode of the second season was the worst of them.
How so?
Screams. Just screams. Everyone's screaming, and that sick man, Grimes, destroying the set. He just told everyone to scream loudly, and then he did. It got to the point where one of the actors, the man who played the skin taker, started to bleed. He nearly choked on his own blood. I bawled my eyes out. Please stop this.
Okay.
I remember the skin taker. I'd love to just forget about him.
I'm so sorry, Miss Lewis. I left to go find Michael Cullen when I came across this yard sale. They happened to have some recorded tapes, some of which had shows from Candle Cove or any other recordings from local 58s. They were probably in horrible condition, but I decided to buy them for the full price anyway. It was very weird watching this stuff. I mean, it's always been said that when the people watched as kids, their parents only remembered it as static. I kind of saw in between. But strangely, even through the static, it was as if I could see something, and it was stuck in my mind. As I tried to sleep, I kept seeing those horrible friggin' images in my brain. And later I was able to write a letter to Walter Shea. I emailed him. Hello, Walter Shea. I'm writing a book entitled Candle Cove Experiences, Tales of the Laughingstock. I am interviewing whatever remaining casts and crew there are from the show, and I was wondering if we could arrange a possible meeting with one another for an actual interview. Of course, if that's alright with you. I can be contacted at the Nahama Motel address. Thank you for your time.
Look, you might be the dumbest person I've ever heard. Why on earth would you bring something like this up? Something that's haunted us for decades. Well, at the same time, you can help me get things off my chest. I will meet you for an interview. But you do not judge me for anything that I will say. I am no snobbish man, but I will never do this again.
As I waited for him at the hotel, I decided to watch some more of those tapes. They definitely did seem darker, as Jane stated. Some of them were even hard to watch, but I had to keep watching. The infamous To Grind Your Skin episode came on, and that was the worst. It's one thing with a shitty motel TV that makes every program look like you're watching from the 70s. It's another thing when the damn tape keeps jumping and staticking out every 2 minutes. I felt like those kind of scramblers trying to watch pornography on their old boxes. I was eventually able to come to Walter Shea, who was paralyzed from an accident that happened when he worked on the show. Okay, Mr. Shea, you had some information?
That show is a curse.
What do you mean?
It is exactly as I say. That show is a curse. On the very last day I was taken down to the set, the ladder fell on my leg, and it just felt like something was pushing down on me. And it was there. It was. Grimes, that sick bastard. He had ideas that were really morbid. Well, for one example, he wanted to make the skin taker make a cape out of one of the characters. He wanted to have Janice killed and skinned alive on camera. And he wanted to do it for real. He had his ways of covering it up.
You mean he wanted to show a little girl getting skinned alive?
I'm telling you, that fucker is a monster. You know the stories. How they say he disappeared and whatnot.
Well, I think I know the story. Based on what I've heard, he just vanished and no one knew what happened.
Well, he didn't disappear. And I'm gonna tell you something I never told anybody before. After we filmed that final episode, I went to get something of mine. Grimes was the only person in the building, and he was talking to someone. So I went to go eavesdrop. He was talking to the puppets and the set pieces as if they were alive. It was actually as if he was begging and pleading for them or something. He freaked out, and he got himself tangled in some cords. One looped around his neck as he was trying to escape. That was it. And that sound of his neck snapping, that still haunts me to this day.
The whole story I've heard was that he just vanished. And you're saying that in reality he lost it and accidentally killed himself?
Yes.
Why was the body never found?
And if you're wondering why they never found his body, sometimes I'm a little too empathetic. And that's even for the wrong people. And at that point, I just didn't want people to think he would just do something to himself like that. And I buried him. I dragged his lanky body out and I buried him. I kept telling myself to fear nothing but fear in itself. But just those puppets. Just nothing but me and that bastard who died in front of me. And those puppets. I had one more day. Then I broke my leg and I had to get the hell out of there as soon as possible. And I was in the hospital. I unfortunately got to see that episode. What I saw was terrible.
Now, knowing that something horrible did happen, it was freaking me out a bit. It's been hard to sleep. Keep having the same nightmare and the skin taker coming at me, threatening to grind my skin. It's hard to wake up to just static because I can hear that damn theme song in my head every time I do so. I gave up a little, but I had to keep going. I made a list of people who claimed to have items from the series. Some proved to be idiots who made the items themselves. Indications were of the modern look to them. However, there were some things that I found at a garage sale. And I shit you not, I even found the skull of the skin taker himself. I thought it was a fake at first because of the way the jaw was, but, this person actually had it fixed. There was one last person left, Michael Cullen, the voice of the skin taker himself. The same Michael Cullen whose son, Trevor Cullen, was murdered in the fall of 1981.
Yeah, hi there.
Sorry about this.
Must not be real sorry. To make me a man who lost his wife and son years after that goddamn episode premiered. To have to do something like this, to relive all those memories.
Sorry about your son and the nightmares.
Not your fault that it happened. My wife left me 3 years after he passed on. I had a dream the very night it happened. It was the skin taker holding a knife, chasing him and brutally murdering him. It's odd that he was in a neighborhood where a local gang known as the Walking Skulls just so happened to be in. But they don't use knives in their crimes, so it was someone else. And that damn episode screwed my voice up. Understand, you see, Grimes wanted the show to be dark. I thought he was nuts. I didn't want to do the grind your skin episode. Especially ever since I read that damn script. But he threatened to fire me, and I couldn't do that. I had a wife and a kid on the way. I couldn't lose work like that, so I had to do it.
I see. What happened on the last night what happened on the night that last episode premiered?
After that damn episode, I got the hell out of there. I went directly home to get all that I could. I grabbed my wife and my infant son and got the hell out of town. I left that damn place with dignity and got to a nearby township. I had the misfortune to be in that hospital in time for that goddamn episode to air. I had no choice but to watch it.
I'm so sorry to hear that. We can continue or we can stop. Understand, look. We can stop if you want to, or you can continue. It's your choice.
Okay, sounds good. I just can't do this. I'm sorry.
Hey, Michael. I'm the skin taker. I've come to grind your skin. Right now, I've come to tell you that your son has a special place in my cape.
My God.
This man committed suicide.
What about his cat?
Yes. You're gonna relocate his cat to his cousin. This note is for you.
I'm sorry to announce that by the time you read this, I'll be gone. It's not your fault, but the dreams came back hard after the interview. It's much harder for me to deal with it, but last night's dream was the final straw. After seeing the skin taker and my son's face in the skin of his hat, I couldn't take it anymore. I can't take them, I can't handle them, and I want you to understand that you mustn't go on. Jody told me about your interview with her, and she's planning on coming to New York for the funeral. I told her that she should forget about it, but since you came around, it's been harder for her to forget. I have to cease this. I'm so sorry, I really am. Sincerely, Michael Cullen.
Because of this letter, because of the death of this man, and because of the nightmares I trudged up, I'm ceasing this project and going home. It's unfortunate to have to quit this, being that I was far ahead, but it's the right thing to do.
So this is really hard to talk about, but I had someone very close to me pass away recently. I'm not going to share their name or any personal information for the sake of their family and their loved ones, but we don't really know what happened. We don't know if it was suicide or homicide or whatever, but I came across an old voicemail that I got from them, and I wanted to share that with you.
Hello, is this Adrian Grimes?
This is he.
This is about the show Candle Cove.
That show?
Yes.
Look, I don't know who this is, but my uncle's been dead for years. His body was never found, and I swear to you, if this is some prank, it's not funny.
It's not a prank at all, I swear.
Look, you want to know about that show? My uncle was a sick man. He told me about it, and I watched it. Now I'll tell you that every single person who was on that show is in their own place on it. I, however, want nothing to do with it. I got to see the making of one episode. One episode. It never got aired, and I hope it never will either.
Meaning either episodes 5 or 6?
What the hell are you talking about? No, this happened after the season ended. A new director, I can't remember his name, he worked on it. It was supposed to be the season 3 starter. I was invited to be on the show as a character, and my father took advantage of it. Since then, I hate all of the show because my fucked up uncle was a part of it. Now leave me alone.